right, so we have had finally a break in the weather, although it still doesn't look very good over there, but it says that it's not supposed to rain here for about at least 10 days. So we're gonna try and get some succession planting done. In the meantime, there is something that I wanna take out of our garden. And I will take you over there. So over here, we have a big bush of catmint, which I've been using medicinally, and I was planning on using for flowers. However, it is attracting all the flies. And there are, let's see if I can find a good one. I picked one and of course it's not here now. But, oh, here we go. There are just like aphids everywhere. There are flies all over it. It's super annoying to walk by. It doesn't smell nice. So I'm gonna sacrifice it and yank it. Here we go. Woo. Here you go, gals. All right, we are planting today. I've got lots of successions going on, as well as planting out our echinacea. If you follow along with us, you might know that I planted some echinacea in soil blocks. So we're gonna transplant those out, but we have more holes than we have plants from soil blocks. So we're also going to do seeds, and we're gonna kind of see how they do comparatively. Other than that, getting our second succession of both kind of zinnias and asters going. Billy also weeded out the beds that he set aside for bachelor's buttons and Mexican sunflowers. So we're planting those out today as well. And now that I'm standing out here, I just realized I need to do snapdragons. So I'll have to go back inside and get those seeds too. But for now, we're gonna get started with what we already have out here. So here we go. Here's our first succession of sunflowers. Some of them are getting pretty tall. Happy with how these are doing so far. And right next to them is our second succession, where we did a couple things differently. We papered and then sprinkled soil on top instead of planting, like pushing the seeds into the soil. And it seems like they've done just as well. And this is the wildflower bed. Looking very full. Like I said, we've got some California poppies in there, some sweet alyssum, some other stuff growing. And then these are actually sunflowers that I planted out here last year, and they must have self-seeded. Got a couple more over here. But overall, so far, very happy with how the wildflowers are doing. We also did our second succession of gladiolus. Came out here, planted another 80 in the middle here, and then in 2 more weeks, we'll finish off the box, plant the last 80. So hopefully we'll have a good long harvest season for the gladiolus. And the roses, some of them are doing great, like this guy. But right next to him is this guy, who is not looking so hot. But overall, I mean, they look, I think just about all of them have new growth on them except for the one. This one's also doing pretty well. This one is too. But I think just the one. Just the one. So, I mean, this one was off to a late start, but is getting some new growth in here. So that's exciting. But yeah, just the one. Not too bad. As for the hobby bed in front of the house, everything seems to be coming up really nice. We're going back and forth and considering whether or not we should plant more of these sunflowers and use them as cuts for the farm since we have the space, or if we should just wait to do that next year. But everything's coming up really nice. There's a few that didn't come up, so we'll just replant those and no big deal. As for the garden, we're kind of at a point where everything's already done. We don't need to focus on it too much. We just got to let it grow and do its thing. Billy did come out and stake the tomatoes, and we've already had one harvest of lettuce, which was delicious. Other than that, letting it do its thing. Happy with how it's looking. So, this past weekend was Mother's Day. As like kind of a last minute thing, we decided to throw some bouquets together and put a sign out front, just like a piece of poster board that we got at the dollar store. That didn't work. There we go. Put a sign out front just saying, you know, like, we have bouquets for Mother's Day, and see if we got any takers. And we sold one. Actually, we sold 3. 2 of them, though, were from our neighbors, so those don't really count. But we did sell one. So that is encouraging. But it also has us kind of like chomping at the bit to get some more blooms in so that we can actually start making bouquets, selling flowers. We also sold a couple bunches of bachelor's buttons to a local florist, which was also exciting because then it's like, you know, we're getting our name out there, we're building relationships, all that kind of like the businessy stuff. But it was exciting and it was fun. So now we're like, okay, when's everything gonna start blooming? And unfortunately, because we decided to start a flower farm from scratch in the winter, right? Like right before spring, late winter, then we missed out on fall sowing. So that really stinks because we went through all of our stuff, looked at the bloom dates compared to when we planted, and it looks like we're not really gonna have any blooms until like July, like mid to late July. So that stinks. But in the meantime, I guess that just means we have to focus on marketing and social media and building that local following, which if you've been following us for a while, then you know we moved here 3 years ago, and we've been like slowly making friends in the area. Unfortunately, a few of the friends that we've made and got close to moved, so that's no help. But yeah, so we just have to build our local following. So trying to do that, but doing that without flowers is kind of tough. So I'm hoping that the wildflowers that we planted in February or March start blooming soon. They're starting to the bed is starting to look fuller. We do have like some California poppies coming up and stuff like that, but they're really short, so they wouldn't be good for cut flowers, at least not right now, just because the stems are so much shorter. But they look nice. Other than that, it's just going to be waiting, right? So we've spent this week succession planting, as you saw. A lot of the stuff that we had on schedule, or not a lot, but some of it we had on schedule for a later planting, we went ahead and did now, just to try and get more blooms a little bit earlier. So like our zinnias, initially we were only planning on planting our zinnias once a month, but our zinnias I thought were going to bloom in 30 days. Oversight on my part. So they're not. They're going to take a lot longer to bloom, so my bad. Anyway, we decided to go ahead and plant those again. So hoping that those start coming up. Almost everything that we planted is looking really good. We do have like some stuff that's not looking so hot, like our rudbeckia. Basically everything in the same plot as the rudbeckias is like rudbeckia, asters, and coreopsis. We may have to replant. I don't think I have any snapdragons coming up, so I did do a second succession of snapdragons, so I'm gonna see if those ones come up. I'm hoping that they do, but again, we'll see. Other than that, I guess most of our stuff we're just gonna have to wait until July and then from a business standpoint, make the most of like July, August, September, October. And then if we can, maybe push until November, because we have a warmer climate here. We're in zone 7B, or 7, I think it's 7B. I don't know. We're in the 7s. So it is a little toastier here. So our last frost date isn't until like the end of October. So we might be able to hold off until November. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But I am encouraged, and we're going to make the best of it. So stay tuned.